The day before we actually started to install our homemade hickory hardwood flooring, ironically, I'm sitting down watching an episode of Lumber Capital Log Yard. And I'm watching AKA Grandpa Larry install the hardwood flooring that they made from their own trees. And he did an excellent job. Now, I personally don't know Grandpa Larry, but it sounds like we have a few things in common since we're both sawyers. We're both really no spring chickens. And for me, I was an installer of hardwood flooring for a large part of my life. So the only last thing I can agree on Grandpa Larry is whether you're a beginner or you're an expert, this is no joke installing hardwood flooring. It's hard on your knees, hard on your back. I just had to have surgery on my hand, Larry, for long years of doing this kind of work. So today, guys, we're going to actually show you the difference of taking your homemade hardwood flooring, whether you take it to a company like Storybook Floors, or if you want to make your own hickory hardwood flooring like we did in our shop. It doesn't need to be hickory. It could be oak, pine, or anything. We decided to do hickory. So a couple of the differences that you're going to have when you're making your own hardwood flooring as opposed to getting it manufactured by a company like Storybook Floors is the end matching. Is that they're going to actually have another tongue and groove piece right here that's going to lock into the other flooring. Additionally, if you look at his, there's a slight V groove put on each one of these floorings. Now we know that we're actually going to sand our floor when we're done, so we don't actually put the end matching in. We're putting this in more like farm style flooring. So it actually takes us a little bit longer to do the installation because if you look, this is now our cut room. So we brought in all of the different stock that we have made, and Jason is actually squaring off, cutting off all the bad ends to get the most usable wood because we've made every one of these pieces. I mean, I cut this tree, we planed this tree, we processed this wood, and now we're installing it. So I'm in love with this little piece.
I love it.
He does love it. So the installation for us is going to be a little bit longer because we have to do some cutting. I'll show you how we actually glue the ends together. And then the floor is going to get sanded and finished. But that's what we got. So some of the cool things about actually processing all of your own wood, your flooring, your cabinets, your material, is that we used this hickory ambrosia beetle to give us that crazy rustic look in our kitchen. Now, I'll show you a link in the description about how we actually made these cabinet doors, the frames, and even all of the oak cabinets that you see. But the beautiful, beautiful part of this is how you're able to customize your projects and actually blend everything together, because we also took some ambrosia hickory that we had, ambrosia beetle, turned it into the flooring. So now my kitchen, my whole house, is going to blend together. And randomly, we have put pieces in that's going to blend this kitchen, this flooring together. And not only did we do the floor, we made some V groove out of it as well. So we're using portions of our wall, portions of our floor, portions of our door, all with our same hickory hardwood flooring that we made. So when we're finished, you'll see the blend together and how cool this project can be. Now try getting that at a store, but there you go. That's how we do it.
You're not getting that at a store.
You're not getting it at a store, Jack. So like Grandpa Larry, we actually are using the rosin paper because we don't have a moisture issue. But we're up on the second floor of the carriage house, and our subfloor is actually chestnut oak. It's the tongue and groove ceiling from down below. So it was important for me to use the right size nails so that the nails wouldn't puncture through our finished ceiling downstairs. So our 1.5 inch nails work perfectly. And let me tell you, between going into the hickory and into the oak, this stuff is down. So just important to know that if you're not doing under a basement and there's a finished floor, if you get the nails too long, good chance you're going to poke through. So there you go. So just like Grandpa Larry, I actually use the staples more often, but here are actually the peg nails that go into a floor nailer. And this hickory is hard, super hard. Now I don't exactly know what wood they were using over there, but I think it was oak. And occasionally with these staples, you're putting 2 pins in. With this super hard wood, there's a chance that it could crack the tongue. So if you're getting a lot of cracks using the staples, use the nails. Jason and I nailed down a bad piece before, and let me tell you, it took us a little bit to get it pried off. So either way, these nails actually stick.
They stick.
They stick, man. Out of all the work that we've done to make this floor, get it to the process, this is really the hardest part. And the hardest part is because you're up and down. I'm on my knees. We're not young. But ours is very similar to theirs. I'll get very started on the one end. Normally what I'll do is I'll bring a block in and I'll start to fit my pieces so that you actually don't ruin your tongue with the nail. So there we have my pieces set. Now we're using a pneumatic gun. Back in the old days we didn't have pneumatic guns. We had to hand drive each one of these in individually. So honestly, with my flooring and the flooring that I use, I actually give this a hit because you're actually not driving the nail in, the impact is. So I give it a whack. It drives this stuff right in.
How's your back, Dan?
My back is sore. Now this is actually the morning of day 3. I was super excited to get this project started. And by here, I was already telling Jay I was ready for the project to be done. But we motored through it and we're gonna get this done. So I am just gluing my end tabs right here, which is gonna seal everything. So I'm gonna just tap everything in. Yep, gonna get my block. No, back up on my feet again. There we go. Going into place. Now this hammer, specially designed for flooring. You see this angle right here? Gives me a chance to tap my end. And you're actually, when you learn to swing it, you're not touching the top of your wood, you're hitting the bottom. So what I'm doing, you see the glue popping out here? We're super tight. So that's really all that we do to get our ends put together. And then another series of nails. Make sure you drive them in. I know this hammer's heavy. You don't want to swing it all day. You don't want squeaky floors. Boom, that's it. Goes to the next. So while Jay's in the back cutting straight and me getting the next pieces, I'm actually stuck installing all day. So it's just glue, fitting pieces, making sure everything's tight.
I get the easy job.
It's not easy, Jay. So there we go. We don't want to get too crazy. I step usually on my 2 ends. Boom, in she goes. These are snug. Now, as I showed you in my video, when we're making them, our tongues are slightly round. So it actually makes it a little bit easier for it to go in. Gives it a place to line it up. Just make sure you're snug. Glue's popping out. You're good to go. I start from this side and I will drive in and move them in. And all of this, my friends, is underneath the cabinets. There you go. That's how we install them. And I just start with the next piece. Put it on. Hopefully Jay and I are working at the same speed. Hit start. Take my block. It's in there, guys. Boom. So, here we are. We're gonna drive this last, boom, tight. tight. And that's it, guys. One after the other after the other. I know everybody wants hardwood floors, and it is definitely when you're finished, in a week or two, when you're feeling better, a couple of tubs of Advil, you're gonna love this floor because it's totally worth it. So the last little tip that I have for you installing the floor is to buy one of these flooring presses. I mean, they're 25 bucks. I mean, this is a cutter X, but there's 20 of them on Amazon. And actually, you can get to your end wall where you can't, how do I get that in? Boom, this bad boy will crush. So, that's how you get your last pieces in. I'm gonna need this button. Make sure my glue is out. But this thing, if you actually have a warp board or something, we've actually used this to press in a bunch of our T&G for our siding walls. Keeps all your joints tight, cheap and easy. I think we've actually used this thing to jack up my truck as well, so. That's all I can say. It's multifunctional, if you can think about it.
We like multifunctional.
I do too, Jay. Hey guys, as you know, we're always are building rustic, and I do not have my self-made multi-million-dollar machine. But you see, we have the same saw cut blades as made by the Storybook Floors. And we don't really have, not a shop that we produce hardwood flooring. We only make our own products. But how we actually achieve this is actually when we're cutting our wood, we know we want a certain amount that are gonna have these marks in them, and they're sporadically around. They're not all over the place. We take our sawmill, we'll bend a couple of our blades, and we'll make a piece that has deeper grooves into it. So when we're planing it, we'll look at it. We're doing these pieces individually, so Jay and I will stop. Boom, we know that that's going on. Now I know this floor is gonna get sanded. It's not gonna get sanded to take that out all the way, unless you wanted to. I do not. So, boom, marks, marks, marks sporadically. So they're not just in my floor, they're in my wood, they're in my beams. It's just a little touch of the old world. Okay guys, Jason and I have a few more pieces to install, and yeah, we gotta finish off the cut room. But next week, we're gonna show you actually how we sand, finish this, and actually get it ready to be moved in. And I wanted to put out a special thanks to the folks over at Lumber Capital Log Yard, especially AKA Grandpa Larry, for the installation that they did of their own hardwood flooring. And it was the best Christmas gift that you could give anybody. So guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.